Rockstar Games, a name familiar to anyone, whether you're a hardcore gamer or just a casual one. You will have heard and experienced one of their games, especially Grand Theft Auto, considering GTA 5 to this day is their most sold game. They would follow it up with the excellent Red Dead Redemption 2, but instead of focusing on current day Rockstar, let me take you back to the 2000s. A time when Rockstar would release bangers year after year with different franchises from the Max Payne trilogy, Bully, and the 3D GTA games. Among these franchises is a game related to a development team formerly known as Angel Studios, which had developed the first two Midtown Madness games. Having caught the attention of Rockstar and parent company Take-Two, Take-Two Interactive would set up a deal in which they would publish their next title, Midnight Club Street Racing, before ultimately purchasing Angel Studios in 2002, bringing them into the fold and reshaping them into Rockstar San Diego. The newly restructured studio would continue to work on their projects for several years with Midnight Club 2 and Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. They also worked on titles such as Smuggler's Run, Red Dead Redemption, and the greatest title Rockstar has ever produced, table tennis. But despite all of the positive press about their titles, an unfortunate timing and the wave of pent-up hostility within the studio would envelope their next and final title, resulting in many of the former Angel Studio developers leaving Rockstar. This is the story of Midnight Club Los Angeles. Midnight Club LA, according to its name, only takes place in a single city, unlike its predecessors. Well, unless we count the PSP port, which I have covered in the past. MCLA would be the third game to use the newly created Rage engine after GTA 4 and Table Tennis, which was the Rage engine's tech demo debut. I told you that game was the best thing that happened to Rockstar. Thanks to this, the game would look extremely good while introducing brand new features like the day and night cycle, simulated traffic, and dynamic weather, altering gameplay on the fly at any time. Convertibles, interior customization, and photo mode would also make its introduction here, followed by the return of a more character-focused story as well after the absence in Midnight Club 3. The story begins with you coming down from the East Coast and trying to make a name for yourself in the LA racing scene. The game offers you 3 starter cars to choose from, and you also get some cutscenes to introduce you to some of the characters in the game, including Book, that can be considered as your main rival in the game. He starts off as the one giving you tasks to do, but as you progress, it becomes more evident that he's the one that you'll have to defeat to become the LA champ. Along the way, you'll also make some friends that will help you get better and teach you more things about this town, including Carol, the owner of a few garages in LA. He will introduce you to a lot of the races that are going on in the city. Throughout the career, you'll meet a ton of other characters as well, but aside from Carol or Book, you kinda have a hard time remembering them because honestly, the story in MCLA is not that special or complicated in any way, shape, or form. It's a regular racing game story of going from the bottom to the very top, something we always see in this genre. Where things differ is in the way Rockstar handles the story, with how characters behave, and the cutscenes with those characters gives the story a whole lot of charm. Even the main character himself is written in a fun way with how he jokes and speaks sarcastically to the other characters and rivals. And as you win races against the rivals, you'll gain more reputation, which can give you more access to car parts and new vehicles to purchase. In this game, you'll encounter a great variety of events. Besides the classic circuits, sprint races, and time trials, you can play red light races where only the start and finish points are defined, with no checkpoints in between. Unordered races where you can choose the order of checkpoints you go for. Wager races where you can bet money and the amount wagered sets the difficulty of the races. And in the pink slip races, instead of betting money, you bet your car. The difficulty of these events is based on the color of the icon, and it's pretty simple. It goes from green to yellow, orange, and then at last, red. To start these events, you flash your headlights to challenge your opponent for a race, the same way it's been in the past games. Carol not only introduces us to the normal races, but also offers us some new events such as delivery and payback missions. The first being a challenge where you have to deliver a bunch of cars without damaging it, and in payback you basically destroy vehicles of clients that didn't pay Carol. But it's not only in delivery missions that you have to be careful with damage. If you crash your car too much in a normal race, it will be game over for you, unless you find a close gas station where you can fix it and refill your nitro. And talking about new additions, we have freeway races that feel so exhilarating, especially with the highways being always so packed with traffic cars. It can certainly give the vibes of a Japanese highway race at times, which is what the original Midnight Club gang did, so I'm very glad they added this. The city is also packed with hangouts from drivers doing a series of races. It's pretty simple. The first to win 3 races wins the series. But there's a catch. Individual races can't be restarted. If you miss the checkpoint in the last corner of the last race, you'll have to restart the whole thing. And this is where the game can get a little frustrating considering how long it takes to reset the car after a crash. A bit like Most Wanted 2012 in a sense. The handling is similar to the previous games, but it can be a little bit tricky to get used to with the new Rage engine. If you're struggling with driving the cars, bikes might be a good option for you. They're very overpowered in this game, unless you hit the upcoming traffic of course. To help you a little bit in the races, you can use special abilities. There's 4 in total. Zone allows you to slow down time, similar to what we're used to seeing in Need for Speed Most Wanted, for example. Aggro makes your vehicle briefly indestructible. Roar emits a sound wave that pushes all opponents out of your way, and the EMP temporarily disables the vehicles around you. Most of these are pretty much returning abilities from Midnight Club 3, except the EMP. And it's also great to see Zone even going out of the Midnight Club series into GTA with Franklin's special ability. Just like the previous titles in the series, you can play around with car upgrades, although the performance tuning isn't the most complex out there. The visual customization, on the other hand, is one of the most impressive things in this game. There are so many options, from front bumpers to exhausts, neon lights, hydraulics, license plates, and even scissor doors. You name it, it's here pretty much. And with this game being one of the few arcade racers with cockpit view at the time, the interior customization was also a cool bonus to have. From custom racing wheels to seats to various gogs and interior colors. Unsurprisingly, MCLA also features a very welcome livery editor, something that has been growing and becoming a standard in the racing genre ever since Viper Racing and Forza Motorsport crashed into the scene. I even took the chance to recreate one of the cover cars in this game. Another thing that Rockstar completely mastered is the city itself. The level of detail is something worth noting. This open world truly feels alive. The city lights in the nighttime, the sunset, the hills, while basically everything in the scenery fits so well and feels like it serves a purpose for the races. And this version of LA isn't the same as Los Santos, so you will see the Hollywood sign, the 7-Elevens, and a lot of billboards from famous brands while cruising around the city. The soundtrack is also a perfect fit for the overall atmosphere of the game, having songs like Day and Night, I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind. I look for peace. Hi Hater. To protect and entertain. Another thing that helps the game feel very immersive is the police, as expected of Rockstar. If you have one in your surroundings, you better behave. No running through red lights and reckless driving, otherwise you'll have to pull over. And then you have the option to pay your tickets or simply try to outrun them. They aren't very forgiving and it ain't so easy to run away from them, and if you have the complete edition, you can buy police cars and then the cops will ignore you. It's certainly a step up from the past releases, and coincidentally, GTA 4 also comes with a brand new and improved cop pursuit mechanic, so it's pretty obvious this is something Rockstar in general has been improving a lot. The complete edition not only adds the police cars, but a whole new section to the map called South Central, and of course some other cars to the game too. The car list isn't the most extensive out there, there isn't much variety to it, but it's understandable because most cars fit the purpose of being in this 2000s tuner scene. It has lowriders, SUVs, luxury, muscle, and exotic cars. Since earning money in this game takes a while, how are you supposed to know which car to buy, and even if you're going to like the way it handles? This is where the test drive feature comes into play, letting you take cars for a spin to get a good feel on how fast it is and how it handles. And this is a bit of a spoiler, but after the credits of the game, you can essentially get any car you want for free, since you now also own a portion of Carol's garage business. A very neat way to reward players for finishing the game while still making sure it makes sense sense to the story. Another right choice that you can make is to try out this masterpiece. Rockstar being very praised for the amount of effort put into development, especially back then, resulted in something very unique. It accomplished the rare achievement of making an open world racing game feel alive, but it came at a cost. Rockstar San Diego had several years of crunching to make Midnight Club LA a working game, which is the biggest tragedy of the story being the departure of the original Midnight Club devs due to toxic crunch culture at the time, which still exists in the gaming industry now as well. But that's not all. The sad part now is that Rockstar didn't make a huge effort to advertise the game, and the exact reason for that isn't very clear. Considering how licensing works, a remaster of this game is probably not going to happen, especially with the amount of money they are making with GT Online. The Midnight Club series is unfortunately not a priority for them. It's been almost 15 years and we haven't heard anything new from the franchise since, and we probably won't for a long time. The closest thing we have to a Midnight Club in recent years is the Los Santos Tuners update in GT Online, which I honestly cannot recommend since it's, well, GT Online. And that wraps up the video. I hope the video was entertaining. If it was, feel free to drop a like and a subscribe to the channel. It truly helps out a lot. Massive thanks as always to my patrons and YouTube members that support the channel, and special shoutouts go to Polo and Leon. I will see you lots fresh again next week. Until then, take care of yourself.